Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that's Connor, and we are going to talk about Wynonna Earp, Season 2, Episode 1. It's called Steel Bars and Stone Walls. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. And we're back. It's been a year. Pretty much, because it was on earlier last year, if I remember correctly. It was on a little bit. It started in April last year. So, we're actually probably a full year since the season ended last year.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Um, and I was grateful for the previously on in that case because when it's been a full year, you do tend to mishmash a couple of the details and forget
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And actually, I enjoyed the episode, but I do have to say the opening was kind of confusing. Because the cliffhanger at the end of last season was Waverly looks like she's been possessed with something, and she grabs the gun and she points it as if she's pointing at Wynonna, and it, cut to credits. That was the cliffhanger. The episode starts with them running away from this demon thing, and there's a line. Like Waverly gives a line where it's like, "Oh well, I shot it," kind of thing. It's as if this thing was behind them and she shot that, and that's what was
Yeah.
going on. It felt like a really awkward way of introducing that idea to me.
Yeah, and it feels like it wasn't the intended thing. They changed their mind at some point, maybe.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that. It felt a little bit stilted in that sense. It just didn't flow very well to the point where I'm like, "Wait, all right, so is that what she was shooting at?" Because I wasn't sure if time had passed. If this was
Yeah.
like weeks later or something like that.
But then they established, no, it's been like a day at most.
Yeah.
I think they mentioned at one point.
Yeah, because when we cut to Dolls, he's still in the same truck, just being let out. So
Yeah.
clearly, he's not that far away, so it's not been that long. But I will say I liked how it immediately felt like, oh, it's more of a team already. Like
Hmm.
we got Waverly Dark, we got Wynonna. She's cracking one-liners, which I'd missed, and it's a whole thing. And then later on, because the episode kind of revolves around them trying to, all right, we need to get Dolls back, and I'm thinking, do you really?
Oh,
Do you,
yeah, I was like the same.
do you
I
really?
was like, yeah, I mean, I'm fine without him.
All these people calling it Xavier Dolls was amusing me as well.
Yep.
But no, so even when they're all researching together, and Hot's there, Doc's there, they keep cracking jokes about Doc because the monster at the start eats Doc's hat,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, he's eating my hat," and Waverly's like, "Yeah, because that's the takeaway right now, is the
I was
hat."
really upset about it, though.
Well, yeah, it's because they keep cracking jokes about it, and towards later on in the episode, he goes to like tip his hat to someone, and he's like, "Oh, I do feel naked without it."
Yeah.
So yeah. But I mean, obviously the thing we loved most as the show went on last season was the characters and the way they interact, and that's definitely back. As is, and I had genuinely forgotten this until there was the bedroom fight in the hotel with
It
Eliza.
got to that as well. I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot this show does this.
I forgot all of the weird sexual undertones and.
Yeah.
I mean, undertone seems a bit generous actually, given how blatant it is.
Yeah.
Oh, she's wrestling with this woman Eliza, who turns out is also working for Black Badge, is an ally of Dolls, and wants to find him as well. And she ends up teaming up with everyone. And honestly, I was thinking for a bit, is she going to be a new team member? And
Yeah.
they pull a swerve. She gets shot in the head, and the lab tech guy, was it Jeremy?
I think it was Jeremy, yeah.
Yeah, he's now kind of. We don't see him at the end again, but he makes the same pact with everyone else. So
Yeah, and no, I have to give him credit because I think it does work effectively as a swerve. Often, when you have a new character introduced and something like this, you kind of just write them off. But when it's the first episode of a season, you buy, okay, we can be bringing in, expanding.
and he seems like he genuinely seems like he's just going to be like a one scene character never seen again, and then she
He just
feels she might be a
sticks
new
with them.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that moment where he just sort of runs away with them. And he's like, "What did I do?" He's like, "Well, ride or die." When they go up in the elevator, he's like, "Yeah, all right there."
Yeah.
He's just kind of befuddled and doesn't know what to do. But he makes the same blood pact because I think ultimately what the way I'd sum this episode up is that it's basically just setting the stage for what season 2 is going to be, and basically we have this new boss at the Black Badge whose name I didn't catch, he didn't mention it. IMDb does not have it listed yet. The actor is from Orphan Black though, I believe, I recognised him. But he comes in and he shoots Eliza, and he's like, "You guys are going to work for the Black Badge, you're going to deal with all these new demons that are in Purgatory." And we spoke about that I think at the end of last season, how they're going to shake it up by having other types of monsters and stuff. It's not just going to be the same old thing that we've had since the start of the show.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, you do this, and maybe I help you end the curse. But he makes them all. They make a blood pact, and they all have to like thumbprint their blood into this old style, old school looking parchment kind of thing.
Yeah. It's interesting. Obviously, she was deputized by Dolls on behalf of them anyway. So this has just been gone. All right, I guess we'll make it official.
Yeah, obviously it feels like there's. I don't know if it's a curse or like there's some sort of, I expect there's like reasons why it's a blood pact. There's given that we're dealing with demons and we're dealing with all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it feels like there's more to it than that. Which was interesting because obviously Officer Hot was outside in the car and she was sort of working comms and helping run things, and she seemed kind of pissed that they never brought her up. It's like, oh, does anyone else know about this mission and about the Black Batch? And they're all kind of like, no, not a word. And she seemed kind of pissed at Waverly almost in the next scene. When she, because she drives off and then they see her again at the house, and it's like I get that she feels not included, but you're actually an asset because
I would put money on her being what saves them at the end, because the blood pact will mean that they are completely bound and they physically can't do something, but she can.
She's a wild card. She can operate outside of this pact. That's a good thing.
And she gets kind of pissed at Waverly, going, "Oh, why didn't you invite me?" And she's like, "Hey, I thought it's a blood pact. Maybe you wouldn't want to be included."
Yeah,
and I'm on her side on this one.
I know, it's not even. They're being forced to do it as well. It's not like they're all wanting this job. They are forced at gunpoint to make this pact.
Yeah.
And she feels left out. It's odd. I can see them having relationship troubles over the season, and obviously Waverly does have something in her. She is somewhat possessed. She goes all sort of evil-eyed. I'll call it Willow season 6 eyes, from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Couldn't help yourself, could you?
But yeah, she like seems to have, when she goes all demon eyes, she has like control, or at least she's scarier than the other monsters, so the other monsters back down.
It's like they recognize what's in her.
Yeah, I would guess that right now, as opposed to like straight mind control or anything like that. It seems like
it looked more like recognition, and then they back down out of respect and fear.
Yeah, but Waverly still seems to be acting normal most of the time, which is the interesting thing. So it's going to be obviously a more of an ongoing thing.
Either it's an incredibly good act, or it hasn't changed who she is.
Yeah, it comes in and out when it needs to take control, kind of thing. Maybe. Which, by the way, a big part of the plot, of course, is they sneak into Black Badge, and Waverly comes in the front door. She ends up to be she's sneaking in the gun because they're not allowed any metal or anything in there, and she sneaks it inside the head of a demon. But she puts on this British accent and says she's from Scotland Yard, and she was obviously playing it up a little bit, but the actress is actually British, and I only knew this because Officer Hot over the walkie-talkie says that is the worst British accent I've ever heard, and as soon as she said that line, I bet she's actually British. That's why she has that line, because that's what makes it funny for the audience. And I looked her up, and sure enough, she's from Bristol, and fair enough.
Definitely not a Bristol accent that she was putting on there.
Oh no, she was playing up the posh London kind of thing. Joe, it was funny though, because I actually doubted she, before I looked it up. I doubted she was actually British, even though I thought she was when she said that line. It was because she it was the end of one of her sentences, it slipped back into an American accent, and now I'm thinking, was that just a really smart little thing she did?
Yeah, like a great piece of acting where you slip back into it because she's trying to put the accent on. Yeah,
because if that wasn't, I mean, I imagine it was, but if that's intentional, that's actually really, really good. That's like really impressive.
Yeah, you don't see that very often, do you?
Yeah, where she's doing an English accent that's not really her own English accent, but she slips back into an American accent as if she's naturally American, faking the British accent. It's actually really impressive. So, it's very good. It was funny as well because part of the plan she was trying to seduce Jeremy. She's like, "Oh, tell me about your computer system and all that," and she's like, "You got the pen," and she's sort of rolling it down her cleavage and all that, and he's just not looking.
He's not interested.
And it's kind of funny. It's almost like, I don't know if they're cracking a joke, like, oh, because she's actually gay, she's like really shit at like attracting a man, or if whatever, or maybe he's gay. Maybe that's what they're telling us. Maybe he's not even paying attention.
I just think he was oblivious. It wasn't like he was looking and then choosing to ignore it. It seemed like he didn't even notice. He was just so caught up in his work.
That's why I lean to her being shit at it, because I think if you're intentionally trying to seduce someone, you make a point of making sure it's noticeable. Like
you would assume so. I mean, it is potentially that. I do think though as well, he is just so caught up in his work that
possibly
nothing would have worked.
But no, all that stuff was fun actually. Her sort of bantering with him was good. So I think he'll be a fun addition to the team.
Yeah, definitely.
But Waverly's still fun. Doc's still good fun. Dolls does get out, of course, and we kind of see him again at the end, and we know that he's okay, but he's kind of off books. He's like renegade because the Black Badge want him.
Yeah. Let's keep him off screen.
To be fair, that smell he gave at the end was probably the most genuine looking sort of moment he's had. Now, it helps that he didn't talk. I'll admit. That helps a lot.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, everyone else does pretty good. I suppose we have to mention the sheriffs, because obviously there was the whole thing where the town all went mind controlled at the end of last season when they were, and they had to explain it all. And the sheriff gives this ridiculous story about something to do with Wynonna, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well the town already hates you, so we'll just use you as the excuse, and you can deal with it." And then this is the thing. He says he basically quotes the Dark Knight when he says, "You're the hero this town deserves, but not the one it needs right now." And then I started chuckling. Oh, that was a bit on the nose. That was the exact line from Dark Knight. Yeah. And then she goes, "Oh, you're a big Batman fan then?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's nice." They actually pointed it out as if, "Oh, someone noticed that was a line." I was like, "Okay, that's fair." And then he goes, "No, not really. Once Uma Thurman left that franchise, it lost me forever."
That cracked me up. It was fantastic.
Do you know what's good about that is I rolled my eyes because I thought it was too on the nose, and then I appreciated her calling it out, and then where he took it after that was legitimately funny.
And then her going, oh, "You're a monster."
I know, which of course I agree with.
Yeah. I look like she was more horrified by that, as with us, than she is by the demons that she fights.
I know. Obviously, the episode's very emotional for Wynonna, because when she finally gets a chance to like rest at the end of the episode, because the events have carried on from the finale. It's been like this whirlwind of events and killing and all the rest of it. Our admittedly evil sister, but sister all the same, did die, and you see her sort of break down at the end, and then that's just before she sees dolls, and like there's a bit of hope returns, because X is back on the scene. Notice his mug has a big X on it.
I loved how what was the other woman's name, the one that got killed?
Eliza.
Yeah, I love how she calls him X.
Yeah.
and when I was like, X, really?
Yeah, Wynonna getting oddly, because that was the weird thing last season. We were like, oh, they're kind of pushing this. She has feelings for him, and we were like, it's a bit weird. I did like the jealousy though in this when she kept like sort of picking a fight with Eliza because she thought Eliza was into him.
Yeah.
Speaking of, going back to again, I'm being very playful with the word innuendo here, but like when they're fighting, the fight itself wasn't that great. It was just like the two of them fighting a couple of guards in like in a small elevator room or something like that. But they go back to back at the end, kind of cheesy action movie style. It's like, oh, this you're even better when you're wearing your underwear. And she goes, oh, you should see what I felt like naked. And I'm like, oh yeah, no tension here at all.
I know. It's just so. I had legitimately forgotten just how much they played with this.
Yeah, just how much it's. Especially, I mean, there's a lot of guy-girl stuff, but there's especially a lot of girl-girl stuff.
There is.
But these comments, yeah. I'm not complaining necessarily.
And you could argue that it's playing to a male fantasy, but then they do have a legitimate lesbian relationship that is a very good, solid relationship, and it feels like. It has its genuine ups and downs, like a proper relationship.
Oh yeah, because she was hiding it for a lot of the season, and in this episode there was a moment where Waverly actually introduced Hot as her girlfriend, and like Hot actually
felt like a big moment. For
her. Hot kind of reacted to it and went, "Oh, you just introduced me as your girlfriend. That's like that was a new thing. She hadn't really done that yet."
Yeah. That's what I mean. So as much as that other stuff is, you can go, male fantasy, whatever, and that's fair. There is stuff in there that is legitimately genuine and good.
Yeah. That said, I don't know if the legit lesbian relationship is undermined. I don't know if you recall in season 1.
I do recall
the very first scene that they had together, and and I said it at the time. I'll say it again. If it didn't cut away to another scene, that was the start of a porno. That scene.
It absolutely was, and that's the thing. It does maybe undermines it a little bit because, like you say, it is built off those moments at first, but it has developed into something proper.
Absolutely. Also, so Doc used dynamite to like threaten people at the Black Badge Society, and he ended up leaving it on like it was basically kind of like a like in Raiders of the Lost Ark they have their room full of artifacts and stuff. It was kind of like all their magical artifacts. It left the dynamite, and at the end we see like a demonic hand comes out of a box and sparks the dynamite, and it
because they made a point of saying it's so old and unstable that any spark will just set it off.
So clearly I think we're setting up I don't know if that's maybe a big bad monster for the season, or if that's just maybe an episode 2 monster that they're just, I'll give a little cliffhanger for the next episode, but it seemed menacing from the hand.
Did look like a good design. I mean, obviously we've seen the hand, but
Yeah.
Solid start.
Yeah, I have to admit, I am generally impressed. As much as I've poked some holes in a couple of things, and we have a bit of fun at Doll's expense, I'm actually glad to have this show back. Like, the characters are fun.
I forgot how quippy and fun it is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you give me shit for bringing up Buffy a lot, but I do legitimately have to kind of...
No, I mean, it's fair this time.
It kind of... I mean, obviously it's not as good as Buffy the Vampire Slayer by any means, but it kind of fills that void where you want your... Because it really... Especially now, they basically officially signed the contract in this that says, yes, we are the Scooby Gang for Purgatory.
Pretty much. And, I'll give you shit for the Willow Eyes one, because that was unnecessary.
That was a fair comparison. That was exactly... that was Willow Eyes.
Yeah, but you didn't have to bring it up. But this one, I will admit, fair comparison, and I'm interested to see where this grows as a group and see if it can, start getting towards that level at least. Because at the minute it's fun and it's good, but it's not that level of great. No one's going to argue that.
Oh, of course not. I don't even need it to be. As long as it stays fun and entertaining, I have no...
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the bare minimum it has to do, and it stays enjoyable. But if it can grow and become even better...
Sure. Well, to be fair, Season 1 continually got better as it went on, so...
It did, and as a general rule, Season 1s are typically weaker than other seasons for most TV shows.
Certainly TV shows of this type. I feel, obviously, there's certain shows where they have a great Season 1 and then everything's just shit after that. Where they have like a great one season concept and then it's like, oh, what do we do for Season 2 of, say, Prison Break?
Yeah, the ones that are very reliant on like the concept. Those are typically a one season.
Whereas with this, all the plot with Bobo in the first season, it was like, yeah, this just kind of feels like a prototype. It feels like this is just testing the waters for the good big bads that we're maybe having.
Yeah. When you have something like this, it's all about your characters, and obviously they grow over the first season, but it takes time.
And
so by the time you get Season 2, you've got your characters ready. You don't have to waste time establishing them. You just go and you can build from there.
Oh yeah, we hit the ground running. I mean, literally, they started the scene running at the start of the episode. But on top of that, we also introduced this new idea of like the Black Badge directly dealing with them and threatening them and having them in this kind of boxed in, and it gives them like two fronts to fight on. They've got the demons to fight, but they've also got this sort of corporate side to fight as well, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting.
So no, there you go. That's the season premiere of Wynonna Earp. We're glad to have it back. So let us know what you think of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. You can also help us out, of course, by supporting the channel on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. See some of the bonuses over there you can get if you want to support us. But that is us, guys. So get us on Twitter at mail_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen. Thanks once again for watching. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?